Welcome back, everybody. This week we have a little bit of a sadder opera, but amazing nonetheless. Let's talk about the original musical version of Rent, La Bohème, premiered in 1896, composed by Giacomo Puccini. Actually, there's another operatic version of it by Leoncavallo, but it's rarely performed. Based on Henry Murger's novel, the books, opera, and musical are all based on Henry's experience as a Bohemian poet in Paris with his friends. This opera is packed with everything you can imagine: love, friendship, jealousy, tuberculosis, and magnificent music. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Act 1. Without any overture, really, we jump right into the attic in Paris, where Rodolfo, a poet, and Marcello, a painter, burning the contents of their apartment because they are freezing cold, and they're just trying to keep warm, to be honest. You may also know them as Mark and Roger. Their friends Colline, philosopher, and Quando, a musician, come and join the burning excursion. Quando, the wealthy one of the bunch, kind of says, "Guys, it's Christmas Eve. Maybe we shouldn't be sitting in this tiny freezing cold apartment. Let's go to Café Momo's." Rodolfo decides to stay back. He goes, "I actually want to finish this article that I've been reading." And the boys are like, "We'll give you 5 minutes." But while he's reading his article, there's a knock on the door, and a beautiful young girl walks in and asks for a match in order to light her candle. Does this sound familiar? Rodolfo sees her and is taken aback. She is so gorgeous. In order to create a romantic atmosphere, he blows out his own candle. Come on. Thus begins one of the most beautiful love scenes in operatic history. Rodolfo sings his famous aria, "Her hands are cold, his hands are cold." Sound familiar so far? Then she drops her key and he finds it, puts it in his pocket, and says, "Oh, I'll help you look for it." It's in your pocket. You just put it in your pocket. Now it's her turn to introduce herself, and she sings her most famous aria, where she introduced herself as Mimi, even though her name is Lucia. See, this is one thing I'll never get. That is a nickname that is so far from the actual name. It's even further than Richard and Dick, which is pretty far. They have a beautiful duet. He invites her out to dinner with the gang for Christmas Eve, and that's the end of Act 1. Act 2. It's Christmas Eve in Paris. And as the lovers make their way to the cafe to meet with the rest of the gang, Rodolfo buys Mimi a Christmas present of a pink bonnet to keep her warm, and also to remind us that she's a child and that it's Christmas. Once everyone is settled in the cafe, a young woman walks into the cafe with a very wealthy lover and is trying to get the attention of, nonetheless, Marcello, her former lover. This woman is Musetta, a singer. You may also know her as Maureen. She sings her most famous waltz. Needless to say, she gets Marcello's attention, and they all leave the cafe except for the lover, which is left with the bill. Sucks for him. End of Act 2. 1 second. So originally between Act 2 and 3, there should have been another act where Musetta takes Mimi to a dinner party. The wealthier men in this party really take a liking to Mimi. Rodolfo sees this, gets very jealous, but Puccini thought it wasn't necessary, so he took it out. And we jump to the end of February. We are still in Paris, and it is still freezing cold out. Act 3. We open outside the Barrière des Infels, a tavern/pub where Musetta and Marcello work. Mimi is standing outside coughing and trying to get Marcello's attention. The coughing is regardless of the attention. Not Rodolfo's attention, by the way. Marcello. She's looking for Marcello. She wants relationship advice from him since things haven't been really going very well with Rodolfo, and she would like to know from him how he can help. She says Rodolfo's just very jealous and he doesn't trust her, and she's sure he doesn't love him anymore. You see, this is where that act that you cut out would have been helpful, Puccini. Marcello tells her that they should be more like him and Musetta, which is horrible advice because I forgot to mention they're the worst couple of all time. I get that you love each other, but maybe you should work it out. I think Marcello and Musetta need to do some couple therapy like now. Marcello then says he will speak to Rodolfo and try and help out in any way he can. Mimi pretends to leave but actually stays in the shadows to eavesdrop because she's being very, very sneaky. Rodolfo confesses to Marcello that he actually falls in love with Mimi more and more every day, but he can't take care of her. He doesn't want to be there because he can tell that she is dying, and living in his tiny cold attic is not helping her health. He's the only one who's figured out she actually has tuberculosis. Mimi emerges from the shadows, and Rodolfo realizes she has heard everything that he has said. At the same time, there's laughter coming from the tavern, which Marcello right away barks, "That harlot!" Like I said, they're the worst. He goes to see who Musetta's flirting with because obviously she's flirting with someone. The lovebirds, Mimi and Rodolfo, decide that they will stay together until the spring because it'll be easier to deal with a broken heart then. End of Act 3. Act Act 4. It's springtime. Rodolfo and Marcello are in their attic, both heartbroken. Colline and Ronaldo have come also to kind of cheer up the boys. They all pretend to have a duel. Boys will be boys, I guess. Suddenly, the door opens and Musetta rushes in, asking the boys for help. Mimi is downstairs. She is coughing. She's really sick and she's asking for Rodolfo. The boys bring her upstairs. They lay her down and Rodolfo comes to her side. Musetta and Marcello decide to go sell Musetta's earrings in order to buy her medicine. Colline sings his beautiful aria where he says goodbye to his coat in order to go pawn it off so he can help. Mimi and Rodolfo are left alone for a little bit. Ronaldo's in the corner. He's pretending not to be there. And Mimi tells Rodolfo that she loves him and has never stopped loving him, and she starts saying, everyone calls me Mimi, but I don't know why. No one knows why, honey. Then Rodolfo surprises her with actually giving her back her pink bonnet, which he has been keeping as a memory of their love. They reminisce of all the good times they've had. Candle, key, bonnet, Christmas. Mimi has another coughing fit. The rest of the gang return with the medicine and a muff for Mimi. I just would like to mention, you guys have no money and she is dying and you buy her a muff as Mimi is enjoying her new muff. The rest of the gang go to the side and kind of talk about how they can help her. But then Ronald realizes that they don't need to discuss this anymore since Mimi has actually left us. And Rodolfo runs to Mimi's body, holds her, and cries out her name. The end? That's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching. As always, comment, like, subscribe, share, follow, all that fun stuff. I will be here every Sunday. Go see an opera maybe in the meantime. Have a great week also. Just mentioning. Cheers.